Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We got Mr. Jeremy Coveland in here with us tonight, from Fan Seekers TV. Who all we got with us in the chats there, Cody?
Let me look and see. Look and see. Catfish in Fresno, how's it going? Uptown Christy Brown, Mike Sampson, Jimmy Geiger, Chad Thomason, 922 Crappie Barbecue, Big Wrench Catfishing, Whisker Seeker Outdoors, Brian B. How's it going? So
Thanks for
thank y'all for
joining us.
coming in. Excuse me. Still got a bit of a cough. But like Dave said, we got Jeremy Coven of Fin Seeker TV, but also of Barren River Lake Fishing Charters. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right, Cody.
Barren River Lake Fishing Charters. So you recently got your captain license and fired you up a guide service. You're doing crappie and catfish.
Yeah, I just got my license a couple months ago, and we're doing mainly crappie trips right now. We might do some catfish trips in the future. We're going to see how it goes, but for right now, I think I'm going to stick with the crappie. I seem to stay pretty busy with that, so kind of enjoying that right now.
Well, anytime you can go out and catch multiple limits of crappie, you've had a blessed day, and you've been kind of consistent about getting on that here lately, hadn't you?
We've been on a good pattern the last couple months, and we've been very fortunate, and we've had double limits in about 3 hours most mornings. So the last couple months has really been good to us.
Sounds like it. You know, it's you don't hear a lot of people doing that on Barren, especially since they upped the size limit to 10 inches. And I know that you've got a really consistent pattern, but it's looking like the outlook for the crappie on Barren is getting good. The population's there, and it looks like the size is catching up.
It is. We're catching where you used to catch a lot of 9 3/4 inch fish. We're catching a lot of 10 1/4 inch fish now, and a lot of times we'll let the 10s and the 10s and the quarters go just to try to help the population a little bit, but there is an abundance of 11, 12, 13 inch fish in that lake. And we've been seeing that over the last few weeks.
So, and you've got some of the new technology on the boat. You got a couple different graphs on there, and one of them also having the live scope transducer. How you liking running that?
The live scope for me has been a game changer. I've actually learned so much just by using this graph. I didn't have a whole lot of knowledge beforehand before I got it, but I was able to spend some time on the water with it, and just by picking a few people's brain and watching how they set theirs up and everything, it's pretty easy to use. You hear a lot of stories about it takes forever to learn it and set it up and everything, but it's actually pretty easy. I kind of fell right into it. And I can say it has probably tripled my catch in just the 3 or 4 months that I've had it. So I've also learned a lot just watching how the crappie react from it. You can watch how they react to the different lures or how they position themselves on the trees. And I mean, not only that, you can pull up to a tree and actually see the bigger fish on there. So, you know, if you're in a tournament and be like, I want to catch that fish right there, it's the one I'm fishing for. And you can go straight to that fish instead of sitting there and fishing and waiting.
That's awesome. Maybe it's from you I've heard say it, but or maybe it's some other videos I've watched. But I've heard that people traditionally, when you would think like you stopped catching them because you were only catching them on this side of the tree, when they stopped biting that side of the tree or the whatever your structure you're fishing, that you think they're all gone. But no, the sun just moved while you were sitting there, and they'll actually just flip themselves around on the other side. You seen stuff like that yet?
Oh, absolutely. About every time after you kind of weed through the pile and they start getting a little skittish, they'll kind of get on the other side of the brush pile. Or a few times they just kind of suspended out in open water, and I'll just be sitting there looking at the screen the whole time, not paying attention to the structure I'm fishing. And before I know it, I'm 50 or 100 yards off the structure, just catching these fish suspended. I mean, they're not even on the structure anymore.
Is that is that on the shadow side of your boat? Do you think they ever locate to your boat as the structure after sitting there close to them like that?
I don't think so.
No.
Well, I got a big question here. You know, my mind's going straight to the catfish. Have you seen any big fish that you thought or knew were catfish on there yet?
I haven't seen any monster fish on the live scope yet, but yes, I have seen several catfish, and I hope to show Cody this weekend. I mean, it's pretty neat because it's very detailed. I mean, you can sit there and see the catfish's tails doing like that in the water. And I was actually over by the Narrows Marina, no, the Peninsula Marina. I was cruising through behind them boat slips looking for crappie cruising through there. And there was actually several catfish cruising through there. So I got they were gone before I could get the video out to try to get it on camera, but it was still pretty neat to see.
Hey, we like fishing over that way. We drag down that we drag down that bank a lot and across that opening into that marina a lot. Caught a lot of good fish right there. So not surprised to hear that you've seen some catfish over our cruise and that we've been had some successful days over that way catfishing.
Yeah,
sure. So, and well, you said something about what we're going to be doing this weekend. We're actually Jeremy mentioned that he was going to be going to Pickwick Lake and said that if I wanted to, I was welcome to tag along. So, of course, I'm jumping on that opportunity, and that sounds like that's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be fishing below Wilson Dam a lot during that trip, right?
Yeah, that's the plan anyway. Go down and like I told you and Larry last week, I'm really trying to get on that 50-pound fish this year. The few times that it's happened from my boat, it's been somebody else catching it or me losing one at the boat. So just not my time yet, but I'm hoping we'll get that changed pretty soon. And this weekend would be great if it happened.
Yeah, it was, I can't remember what time of year it was last year, but we were out on the lake and I believe you were at the back of Skaggs Creek. It might've been. And you said, man, I just had it would have been my 50-pound flathead got off on the way to the boat with you.
Yeah, that was a big fish.
Not to bring up old stories that bring back pain.
Well, and to top it off, about 30 or 45 minutes after that, losing that fish, I caught a blue that was, I think he was 43 pounds. So again, I was just shy of it again.
Right. And your son's actually, he's caught a couple 50 plus.
He's got a 51 and a 50.
He don't ever rub that in, does he?
Great trip.
Every chance he gets. The last trip we went to Alabama, I don't think we went last year. It was a couple of years ago. We went to Pickwick Lake, and I always let him. He always gets the first fish. So every time we go out, and this particular time, first thing in the morning, had a rod bury over pretty good. I said, well, that's my fish. That's the one I came for. It's going to be my 50-pounder. Well, so I run up there and grab the rod, and I get this fish in. It's like 34 pounds. So Braden gets the next fish. Before I get this fish released in the water, his rod bows over and has a 50 on the dot.
And that video's on your page if anybody wants to watch it. That's an amazing video. Great trip out there. How's life? How's it going? Richard Cluck says, I would have cried if I lost a 50-pound flathead. You could hear he wanted to when he called me. He had the tears in his voice.
It was rough. That's 2 monster fish I've lost on bear and hadn't made it to the boat.
So. Well, you actually travel quite a bit to fish, don't you? You've had the opportunity to fish a few different places.
I fished most of the lakes on the Tennessee River. I haven't catfished on Gunnersville yet, but most of the other ones I have. I really like Wilson. Wilson's probably one of my favorites. And Pickwick's probably second. I like Pickwick pretty good too.
And so you fish most of the pools on Tennessee River. You've got to fish a couple of the pools on the Ohio, and you fished it with some world renowned catfish specialists for the Ohio River too, as well.
If you're talking about Hagen,
Hagen and Chris Souders.
oh yeah, Chris Souders and Hagen. Yeah, I've got to fish the Ohio River with both of them. We fished the Kanawha River while we was up there with Souders. So yeah, I got to see some new water. It's always fun for me to go to different places like that, and especially when you have somebody with you that kind of knows what's going on and what to do a little bit. So it's a good learning experience, and that's what I always tell people. If you want to learn more about fishing, just spend time with other people. See how other people do it. Fish with them. The more people you fish with, the more things you're going to pick up and the more knowledge you're going to gain.
Miss Stephanie Cluck has changed her name to I Don't Fish, but y'all are cool. And if anybody in chat has any questions for Jeremy, feel free to ask. I'm sure he doesn't mind to answer anything y'all have to ask, whether it be about live scope, catfishing, or crappie fishing. He definitely knows about all of those. Yeah, and fishing with different people, even if you're a veteran catfisherman, a veteran fisherman of any sort, seeing what other people do can really change the way you think about what you do, and can make you make some of those subtle changes that can make a big difference. You know, we've all got something to learn from one another.
Yeah, and like we was talking before the show, where we fish here on Barren River Lake, the not having any current, I mean, it's just a totally different ball game when we pick up and go somewhere else. Like last weekend, we all went to Old Hickory. I mean, the Cumberland River system has current, and it's just you have to approach everything different.
Yeah, the fishing there, we don't river fish a lot, but when we do, it's typically the Tennessee River. And where we were marking fish and where we caught our fish and stuff was in a different location than where we would have typically fished when we were going to a place like that. So river fishing, although all of it's going to probably have some sort of current, it's not the same. Every river is a little bit different. And after we started catching our fish, we noticed on the way out, it's like, well, and we had noticed a little before then, everybody was fishing in that location on the channel edge. Nobody was really fishing these other places. It's like these fish are really just running up and down the channel there, and they're not being caught many other places, it doesn't seem.
Yeah, it was strictly a channel edge bite the other day. It took us a little while to find it. We actually graphed a few fish in deeper water, but those fish weren't willing to bite. But it seemed like the fish in the main channel out there, they were a little bit more willing to bite.
Yeah. Well, we had a couple bites for him, short bites though. I mean, enough to make your heart go bump bump and then drop out. You know, you get excited and then, well, there ain't nothing there.
Yeah,
See what Richard says.
I thought the whole time we were out there we were going to be forced to anchor up, and it was kind of neat and different to drag baits in that current. Definitely different than what we're used to.
Read that out loud, Daddy, if you don't mind.
All right. It says, where do you start if there are no current seams? Structure to get out of the current. What do you look for with no current?
I would.
Go ahead.
You want to go ahead or?
No, that's what I'm going to say. You want to go ahead and answer it?
I like if you can find structure they can get behind, like some big rock piles, or if you can find just some depressions where maybe the bottom level of the lake or river just goes down, maybe has just a 3, 4, 5 foot hole right there. A lot of times in these rivers, you'll have blowouts from barges and stuff. And just anytime you find those little holes, them catfish will be laid over in them because that'll block that current.
So thank you. 351 Cleveland. He says, go Gamecocks.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, and Richard, far as the lake with no current, we kind of look at probably still similar things. We look at the ledges on the channels, and really it's all dependent on weather with us, weather and where the bait is. If the weather's good and that water's warming up, we'll just start moving shallow and to the flats, or to the flats and then move on up shallow. But other than that, we're usually dragging ledges, just like it's what I would do if I was on current.
Right.
Yeah. We do a decent amount of dragging the ledges, but more than anything, on a lake with no current, I want to look for almost any time of year. When it's really cold and you're not catching them shallow, then go to the deeper places. But for the majority of the year, I want to look for the shallow flats that have easy access to the deeper water. For bearing, that is the channel, is the deepest part of the lake. So find somewhere that, especially if it necks down in an area and then you get a pinch point and then there's a lot of dog legs on bearing. So if I've got a place where you got a cove edge that comes out and then it widens out into a really shallow flat, say 5 to 8 foot, and then it's got the channel run up one side of it, I will start out early in the morning, probably closer to the bank in the shallower side of it, because those fish have been up in there, because that shallow flat will get absolutely crammed full of shad at night when the moon's out. And then as the day goes on, I kind of work my way out a little closer to the channel, because it seems like the bite gets a little better over there. The fish are less up in that flat and more migrating from spot to spot as the shad back out over top of those spots. We don't have skipjack. I'm sure panfish is still a huge part of any catfish's diet on Barron, but I would say 99% of their diet, or at least 95% of their diet's going to be shad. We have an amazing shad population. So that's going to be the most of their diet, mixed in with some crappie, some bass, and all your other panfish and whatnot. But yeah, look for those shallow flats, especially if it's an area that has a pinch point on each side of it, where then you can anchor up on the ends of those shallow flats. If you're dragging, just drag the whole thing, But if you're going to anchor up, you can anchor up at the pinch points in the flat, have one thrown over into the channel, and you're going to do well.
Question for you guys. Do you, if you pull up to a spot like that, say you're going to start there, are you looking for bait there, or are you just going to start out and hope you run into something? How y'all do it?
Well, on Barron, we've got the spots like we feel like we always have success, and we probably do this to our detriment and just go into a spot that we think will be that good for that weather condition that time of year. But if we're looking for new spots, I get up my scan for bait, and I want to see other stuff on the graph too. But long as I see bait, I feel like there's a good chance there could be fish there.
But honestly, we probably not zero bait, but less bait will. If there's less bait present, then a lot of the spots will catch more fish.
Yeah, we've been in places that you were in, say, well, and if it was deep water, 30 foot of water, and the graph would be going from saying 12 foot to 30 foot, 12 foot to 30 foot, where there was so much shad under the boat that it was reading the shad was the bottom of the lake. And you're like, man, there's got to be fish here. I mean, why would they not follow this just ginormous ball of bait around? And you just can't buy a bite. And be marking what you're pretty sure is catfish on bottom and still just never getting a bite. And I think it's because they've got too many baits to choose from. You've got your little bait here, your 8 little baits spread out, but then they're spread out amongst a buffet with, a million baits down there.
Right.
So why do they pick up yours? It's, the odds aren't in your favor.
Right. And that's exactly right too. I've seen that play out time and time again.
But the flats work pretty much year round. Even the deeper flats. Of course, there's some deeper flats over there, and in the wintertime, a lot of times the deeper flats, the fish will be there, but they'll still, if that water warms up any in the shallow, they'll move to it.
Yeah.
Well, another thing, and Jeremy, you tell me if this is places you look for on Bering. There's a lot of little I call them underwater islands. They're not really, I don't know, an island. A lot of them aren't even that big, but they're just be little, and they're the what the bottom's made out of doesn't even change. It'll still just be mud, but it'll come to a little domed up rise all the way around. And you can drag over top of those or anchor on those, and fish really relate to those little humps a lot if out in the flats. And Bering's full of them.
Yeah. I kind of missed what all you said there, Cody. I had a phone call. I apologize.
Oh, I was just talking about I know Bering has a lot of the little underwater islands, and it's not even rock or anything. They'll still just be all mud too, but it'll be
Right.
a little 3-foot rise, and then it goes 5 yards over and then drops back down. It just looks like a little island on the map.
Yeah, especially out there by the Hogs back. There's a couple of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're actually close to getting enough together that we'll drag, and we just look like we don't know we're steering crazy, because I'll steer around and try to get my lines to pull over every one of them as I go.
Yeah, the bait fish tend to congregate on them for whatever reason, or around them, kind of on the edges of them.
And I don't know why they relate to that so much, because there's no current, so it's not like they're hiding down behind it to hide themselves from current or anything, but they just draw fish. Larry, go ahead. Don't go silent on us. I was scrolling, looking at the comments.
Scrolling, looking at the comments. All
Yeah.
right. Well, I guess so we know that you two are going down to Pickwick this weekend. And Jeremy, I know you've fished there before, and I know you said there's some good holes down through there. So typically down there, is that a smooth bottom or is that a rock bottom down through there?
It's a little bit of everything. Probably mostly a hard bottom. There's a lot of rock, a lot of riprap underneath the water and stuff. But mainly, I'll be fishing just some kind of rock piles just to break the current. They get in those little current breaks. And there's also a lot of fish on the bluffs this time of year, so they kind of travel them ledges around them bluffs. So I'll probably for sure scan them bluffs and just looking for a bigger fish sometime during the day.
So in the wintertime, do you tend to catfish more deep, or do you still fish shallow?
It just depends on where the bait is. Me and you had a plan kind of running up to the dam and trying some of them shallower fish. And I think if that bait's in there and with the sun being out, there's a good chance that bait's going to be in there shallow. And I'm hoping we can get on a good shallow water bite. And we'll try that, and we'll see how that goes. And later in the day, as they tend to move out, we'll just go down river and see what we can find.
Rod Knockers Fishing says, any skipjack running at Pickwick? I need fresh bait.
Absolutely. They'll be in your little current seams, and there should be a few at the dam.
So we're hoping we get on some. I mean, I love skipjack fishing too. First time I had been once before, but the first time I ever actually got on a consistent bite of them was a trip that you went out with us and showed us where they were on Old Hickory, and we absolutely just smacked them that day. And I realized, hey, I really like this skipjack fishing thing. It's a lot of fun.
It can be fun, and there's a good hole where we're going Saturday. It's not far from the boat ramp, so we'll probably hit it first thing.
There we go.
But I will say this last trip down there on the Cumberland River, them skipjack wasn't where they were the first time we went down there. And it was funny because Jeremy can tell you, we're sitting there catfishing. Cody picks up skipjack rod, just starts catching skipjack right where we started catfishing.
Yeah. Well, I caught more skipjack just off of the anchors we had than I seen 30 boats piled up at the steam plant catch all put together.
Yeah, and we're not talking about just one spot. It was like three or four different spots we pulled up to, and Cody starts catching skipjack, whether we're in the middle of the lake or beside a little pocket or wherever.
I end up, which I didn't catch a lot of them that day. I think I ended up catching 10 or 11 of them. That first spot was where most of them come from. I caught 7 or 8 from the first anchor that I was casting at. But we didn't see 2 skipjack caught amongst 30 boats the whole 45 minutes we sat at the steam plant. I mean, nobody was catching them up there. There was a lot of people trying, though.
Yeah, they weren't discharging water like they was the last 2 previous times we was there. And you could see that with the water temperature, too. I think it was only, 58 or something. And that temperature is usually running around 65 to 68 up in that canal.
Yeah, I think it was actually 55 up there. And then even on downriver, just the regular river was 50 degrees. So you got like a 4 or 5 degree water temp difference there. It's not that massive difference like what you were saying the other time we'd been there. It was, what'd you say, 68?
Yeah.
Yeah. So not as big a difference.
And sometimes just that little change in temperature can hold them skipjack like that.
But they're getting a lot of pressure there too.
They are. They usually come in there pretty good at the end of November, 1st of December. So you got all these guys hammering them every single weekend. It does take a toll on them.
Right. They hopefully catch back up. But there's some big skipjack in that water. I mean, it wasn't uncommon for that first trip we went there just to skipjack fish in December for us to catch 2.5 pound skipjack. I mean, we had quite a few of them that were 2.5 pounds.
Yeah.
Big old skipjack.
It was pretty much our first opportunity, other than one day you brought us some fresh on the lake you'd went and caught. But it was my first opportunity to fish all day long with fresh skipjack. And I definitely believe that makes a big, big difference, because at the end of the day, my cutting board was red.
Right.
And it had never been like that before.
Yeah, it makes a whole lot of difference, just the amount of oil and blood it puts out versus frozen,
So, and if anybody else in chat's got any questions, be sure to drop them in there. If I missed any questions earlier, just go ahead and redrop them. I'll make sure I try to read them. But, all right,
You'll give something away, Cody?
Yeah, we can.
How about a SmackDown catfishing hat?
All right.
And we'll throw in some decals with it there.
Awesome.
Smackdown and fin seekers.
And the grand prize you told me about the other day, we'll wait and we can do it towards the we'll do it right before we get off here.
Okay.
Here's Wayne Huska, $5 super chat. Thank you, Wayne. Much appreciated. Here's a question, Cody. How dare you? Let me get my giveaway tool brought up here. Thank you again, Wayne.
Thank you, Wayne Huska. Thank you so much.
And let's go with hashtag SmackDown. How's that sound?
There you go.
So you got a decent relationship with them, and that's the rod holders you run on your boat. You seem to well, actually, you bought them twice now, because for those that don't know, Jeremy said he was getting out of catfishing. I'm not doing any more catfishing, and he sold everything. Just turn around and buy it all back.
You didn't really believe that, did you, Cody?
Well, I thought it would take you about 3 weeks longer than what it did to start buying it back. You bought it back rather quickly. Sold it all and start buying it all back brand new. Just couldn't stay away from it.
All right.
It's addictive, though. It is.
It is. And I love to anchor fish, and that's one of the biggest things I miss about it. I I probably didn't catfish for about 2 months. I've been crappie fishing all winter. But yeah, I love watching them rods go down. That's the fun of it for me.
It's a blast. Randall said, I didn't believe it for a minute.
I'll tell you what, I like to anchor fish some, but I love dragging baits. I love trolling. My favorite way to fish.
Jeremy, you do some trolling too from time and time again, right?
I do, but if I'm by myself, I can get aggravated with it pretty quick. You pretty much need 2 people on the boat to do that, in my opinion.
Yeah, because if you ever get one hung up, and then you're fooling with it, and then something else gets hung up behind your back, and especially if you don't have an iPilot trolling motor, and you're actually having to keep the trolling motor on course, for long, you're just ready to throw everything overboard.
Oh yeah, it can be aggravating, but I mean, just fishing with you guys, you guys had a system down. Everything you did, each rod went in a certain position and everything. I mean, you can just tell y'all had so many hours, just doing that. Y'all had it like perfected there. So it kind of blew my mind just watching how y'all did it.
And believe it or not, when we first started doing it, I hated it. And it's because we had no system and it was a mess and things did not go smoothly. And something would hang up and the first reaction was to jerk on it because didn't know if it was a fish or didn't know if it was a hang up and we could jerk it loose. And like with the time of doing it, now I realize just don't touch it if it hangs up. The rod, if it's going to come loose, its best chance of coming loose is on its own, and time on the water. I think we've gotten decent at doing it. Maybe not decent at finding fish, but at least decent at deploying everything. And it only comes with time on the water. You can listen to people tell you how they do it, but everybody's boat's laid out a little bit different. So how they do it might be completely opposite of how you want to do it on your boat and stuff.
Does the weights make a big difference on how many times you get hung?
Makes a huge difference, I think.
And what kind of dragging weights do you guys use?
There's a gentleman here local that he's in the process of starting a lead company, and once he opens up, we will be sharing that with everybody on this channel. But he's who we get ours from. He's an amazing guy. It's SS Jello Chicken. If you ever watch, if you're ever in chat and see anybody with the screen name SS Jello Chicken, but that's what it is.
No, he was local.
Yeah. He lives in Bowling Green. Hopefully this doesn't exit out. My StreamYard chat froze on me. I was trying to take Matt's comment down. Now it's popped up. The page isn't responding. So I'm going to hit exit page. Hopefully it just boots me and doesn't boot y'all.
Hey, well, Cody's gone. Hey, the screen looks better now.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he'll be able to come back.
Oh, yeah.
We can finish the giveaway anyway. Everybody doesn't put everything in. Now he's gone. They may have to put it back in.
Have you guys always drug, or was there a time that you anchored fish and started out?
We always just anchored fish, and then we decided to start. Actually, first time I ever drug in my life, I was by myself, and had success. I was by myself, and I did not have a trolling motor with a remote or anything. So I drug out a couple of creeks and had success, caught fish. And after that, that's when I first bought one of the trolling motors with a remote and everything with spot lock.
The iPilot.
The iPilot, yes.
And if you plan on dragging a lot, Chad keeps putting down instead of SmackDown, Smack Cody. Now he's putting in Smack Cody 2 times. If you're on a drag a lot, an iPilot trolling motor, they're on the pricey side. Well, they're on the pricey side for what I think pricey is. But they're a game changer. They will save you so many headaches. Just being able to hit that north button, set that cruise control. Spot lock itself is amazing. And if you're in a river where the current's going to hold you straight, spot lock's amazing. We used to spot lock a ton last Saturday, didn't we?
Yeah, I couldn't believe how good y'all's battery held up because that thing ran nonstop all day long the other day.
Yeah, I did have to. I just put a new battery in there, and it's of course 24-volt system. And when I first got that trolling motor, I had 2 batteries, and one of them was a cranking battery I put in there to operate it. And I just went and bought another battery and took that cranking battery out, and it runs a lot better now that I've got 2 batteries that are the correct batteries for it.
So, I had something in mind to ask you before my computer went on the fritz. Well, you've been blessed enough to work with a crappie jig company, right?
Yeah, it's a company called Pure Crappie. They make a lot of soft plastic baits. They make jig heads. They have a apparel line. They got some pretty neat shirts and hats and stuff. So I think the website's purecrappie.com. You can check that out. And some of their stuff, I got a pack of stuff here. They have a lot of Amana soft plastics and stuff like that. This is the monkey milk color that I catch a lot of fish on that. And there's another color, blue ice, that's been real good for me in clear water too.
So if you could only use one color jig, what is your go-to?
I've caught more fish on a red and white jig than any other thing. This time of year, when you're fishing a lot of murky water, seems like this little guy right here, that's my favorite wintertime jig. It's just red glitter, chartreuse tail. It's got chartreuse and orange on the head right there. And this is a 1/16 ounce jig. And for whatever reason, they just seem to, I guess they can see that color a little better, maybe. I don't know, but it's been really good to me in the winter times. But if the water's halfway clear at all, I like a natural, something natural looking, a white, a monkey milk, or something like that.
And Rod Knockers Fishing says, "Where's Jeremy's home waters?"
Barren River Lake here in Glasgow, Kentucky.
He lives on the lake there. He's if I lived there, I wouldn't. I live 15 minutes away, so it's such a long drive. It keeps me off there a lot. But if I lived where he lived, I'd be out there every day.
Yeah.
Well, I'm surprised you said that in that jig there, because I've never fished with tubes myself, but growing up, Daddy had tackle boxes and tackle boxes and tackle boxes of tubes, and you don't see a lot of people fishing with tubes anymore.
No,
at least I don't. I mean, I don't.
I've been crappie fishing since I was about 6 years old, I guess. I grew up crappie fishing, so just some of the things that stuck with me over the years that tend to work and produce year after year. And just that's kind of the stuff I keep in my boat. I mean, I have a bunch of tackle in my garage on the shelves and stuff, but I mean, that's a lot of it stays right there. Just the stuff that I have my confidence in and what I think they're going to hit, that's the stuff that makes it to the boat. So, and this will always be in there, don't matter what time of year.
Well, I'll add to the color question then, and I'll say the monkey milk color is my favorite. It's not called monkey milk and everything. Actually, the Yamo Minnow is probably my favorite jig. The Gary Yamamoto, crappie jigs he makes. They're hard to find these days. Daddy's got a good friend that ordered a couple cases of them when they discontinued them. And I always get a few packs off him every time I see him. And that's probably my favorite color, and that's my favorite jig. Daddy, what would your favorite color be?
Or just any time, probably electric chicken.
I knew he was going to say it, electric chicken. And it's just, I don't know why it works, because it's such a funny color combination, that bright yellow and pink, bright green, whatever you want to call it. So Matt says that's a lot of orange for a Kentuckian. It is a lot of orange for a Kentucky boy, ain't it?
Well, I reside in Kentucky, but I was born and raised in Tennessee. My job moved me up here.
And Richard Cluck says, I've caught more crappie on red and chartreuse than any other color. And orange and white is a great color too. Greenwell Fishing says, for you guys catching skipjack in clear water such as Tennessee River, does black grubs work well? I don't know. Jeremy?
I've never tried the black in clear water. I usually use the white ones with the little pink heads on it. Or white seems to be, as y'all seen the last 2 times we've been in there, we'll tie 2 or 3 different baits on the same line, and the white kept getting hit over and over. White's just a really good color for them, I guess, because it's a natural color. When the water's been a little bit muddy, I've went in there and I've actually caught them better on the chartreuse.
Yeah, I bought a pack of chartreuse Mr. Twisters and white Mr. Twisters, and you said you'd been catching them on white, and I haven't really tried the chartreuse yet because they were hitting the others. There's no reason to go trying anything, you know.
Right.
Ronnie Oakley, how's it going? And if anybody hadn't yet, be sure to put in that hashtag. It's hashtag SmackDown for a couple Fin Seeker TV decals and the SmackDown Rod Holders hat. See here. Just scrolling along, making sure I didn't miss any questions. Greenwell says, black is my go-to color behind Kentucky Lake Dam. All right. I had never used them. Like I said, I've only ever used the white ones. I haven't skipjack fished much. But I know the white works. And he says white curly tails with pink heads is my go-to in the Ohio River.
I ain't ever caught them but on one color, and that's the white curly tail with a green jig head. Started out with a white spoon, but by the end of the day, it was silver.
Yeah. You know, the skipjack, their mouth are so dang hard, and they knocked every bit of paint off that Foley spoon. But they're still hitting it. They hit it just raw metal just as good as they did when it was painted white.
Sometimes when they've been in there good, and there's a lot of them in there, you know how they'll tear them little grubs off the hooks after a few. I threw the hooks out there and just caught them straight on the hooks. If you had like a pink or a green hook or something, jig head, they'll still hit it.
It seems like if they ever see another one eating, they're like, I want to eat that too, you know, and they just fire the food. So like you said, no matter what you throw out there, if they're in that feeding frenzy, they're going to bite a hold of what they see.
Yeah. And it's more of a reaction bite because you have to burn them baits through the water pretty good, I think.
Right. Well, their eyes are so big. So, you know, I would assume they see great. So you want to probably put a little speed on that deal and make it where they can't get a real good look at it. Make them just want to come catch up with it and investigate.
Yeah, the skipjack, they're constantly on the move. I mean, I had the live scope on them the other day. It just everywhere you spotted them. I mean, there was no stopping. They were just swimming around in their little wolf packs. They're on the move all the time.
So, and Greenwood says he can't catch them on a Foley spoon. Well, me and Daddy caught quite a few on Foley spoon. Jeremy's catching them on every kind of spoon and jig, and he had broke off a few and lost all his Foley spoons, and he threw on some lipless crankbaits and everything else. They are still smacking it.
Yeah,
everything he put on, they was hitting. He's like, I don't know if they're gonna bite this little thing. I don't even know what this is. There he is.
I would have to think that day had to just be phenomenally the way they bit that day. It was crazy.
That had to have been, just a above average, tremendous day. That
Yeah.
can't be a normal day.
Oh, that's a pretty normal, like, early season. Like in May and June, you can go up below the dams, and it's the same way. You'll catch them every cast like that. Sometimes you get double up or triple up on the cast.
Greenwood says they're like piranhas without teeth when feeding. Well, hey, Jeremy, if you don't mind, we'll go ahead and hop back over here to this and
All
make people quit waiting since we've done told them about that one. And being Daddy's got a giveaway we want to do as well. Let me see here how to put this back up there. All right, 28 people in here, or 28 in the giveaway, 48 people in here. I'm going to give you about 30 more seconds if you want to get in on a SmackDown Rod Holders hat. It's an awesome looking hat. Show them what it looks like if you don't mind, Jeremy. And this is donated by Jeremy Kovlin. It's Kentucky blue. It's the reason he's giving it away.
Yeah.
He is a volunteer fan through and through.
That's right.
So let's count it down here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, here we go. Freeze up. 922 Crappie Barbecue. Congratulations.
I'll put my email in the chat. You can either email me with your name and address, or you can send me a message on Messenger, either one. If you send it to me tonight, I can ship it out first thing in the morning. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to throw in a couple packs of these crappie lures from purecrappie.com. So you guys make sure to check them out.
Heck yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you, Jeremy.
Yep. Thank you for being here, 922 Crappie Barbecue. He was in here before the show started, and he said, I hope I can make it stay up for the whole show. So good thing he stayed up because he won.
Look what Chris said.
What did he say? I'm doing something. I don't want to talk to Chris.
Yeah, Cody, you kind of butcher my name every time you say it.
Do I? Kovlin?
Yeah. Jeremy. He calls me Jeremy. It's Jeremy.
Jeremy?
Calvin. I'm not sure how you say my last name. I've never heard it said like that.
Kovlin?
Yeah.
How do you say it?
Calvin.
Calvin.
Yeah.
That's what an Allen County accent put on it.
Is that what it is, the Allen County accent?
Yeah. Jeremy? Yeah, I guess Jeremy. I say Jeremy. Jeremy.
Yeah.
You know, like he's got the cooties, you know, he's Jeremy.
I'm used to it. I'll answer to anything. Nobody can pronounce it really.
Calvin.
Right.
I'll try to remember it, but I probably won't. I'm terrible with names. And let's do a hashtag. Well, if I can type. Hashtag shirt. And we'll give away a 3+1 shirt. You just have to email us at 3+1outdoors@gmail.com, or you can hit Daddy up on Facebook Messenger and shirt size, name, address, the normal details, and we'll get that made and sent out to you. Might take a week or so to get it sent out. Have to get it made, but there we go.
Good evening, Uncle Jeep. So you come in and join us.
Chris Lee and all them, they make fun of how I say Scottsville too. They'll text me and they'll spell it VULL. Scottsville. I guess that's just how everybody says it around here.
Well, I blame it on where Cody grew up. He grew up. We lived. when he was a smaller kid, we lived in Fountain Run, so there wasn't much went on there.
You think the way I speak's bad, you ought to see how I spell. So, Jeremy, out of all the places you've been, where's somewhere you hadn't been yet that's on the bucket list?
For catfishing,
Yeah.
probably James River. I've never been there. Yeah, that'd probably be my number one because I've been on most of the Tennessee River already. So,
What about crappie fishing?
Lake Fork.
Texas.
Yes, it's they have a lot of standing timber, and it just sets up the way I like to fish. One pole, jigging, and it just fits my style, and it has a big crappie to boot.
I won't go to Grenada. Am I saying that right? Did I mispronounce that? Anybody?
Use close. I know what you meant.
Grenada.
Yeah, I've been to Grenada. Grenada's it's a different kind of lake. It stays muddy pretty much year round. It's a big old bowl, and you better watch where you're going down there.
A lot of standing timber.
In areas there is.
Well, you're talking about the standing timber at Lake Fork. There's a smaller lake right here, Nolin. Have you fished it much?
No, Lynn. Yes, I fished it several times for crappie. There's a lot of standing timber in it. My main thing I look for is I want dirty, dingy water, and I don't care if it's brush piles, laydowns, or standing timber. That's where I'm going to go to. Single pole in my hand. I want to drop a jig on. That's just the way I like to catch them.
Yeah, and then like you said, that's the way you like to catch them, and that's the reason I guess I don't crappie fish all the time. It's because I like to catch them on a jig under a float. It's just my favorite way of catching them.
Yeah, you can catch them under a float right now. You just need to. It needs to be about 22 foot long.
Better be a slip float.
Yeah.
And Randall says, "I'm ready. When are you for the James River?"
As soon as I can get over this 50-pound mark here on Barron, then we'll talk about James River going there.
Yeah, me and Daddy always take a crappie fishing trip in the spring, and I told him, I said, if you want to just not take a crappie fishing trip this year, I'm fine with going to the James River for a week.
That'd be a neat trip for sure.
Excuse me, sorry.
Go ahead, Cody, and draw for that.
What are you bossing me around for?
Too much later.
I'm trying to get it back up here. Sorry. Got 33 entries. I'm going to give it about 10 seconds here, and y'all got a chance to get in. This is for a 3+1 outdoor shirt. And then we can draw for our grand prize, and that will be a guided crappie fishing trip with Jeremy Kovlin of Barron River Lake. You like how I said it? I didn't even mean to do it. It's just that's why I guess the way I've said your name the whole time I knew you. So it'd probably be hard habit to break. Jeremy Kovlin of I still didn't say it right.
Just say Jeremy.
Jeremy of Barron River Lake Fishing Charters. So for anybody that lives close enough and you know you're going to be able to go out, he's wanting to donate a guided fishing trip with him. So, well, it froze up again. Let's see here.
Cold Creek Catfishing Billy.
It's not freezing. If I click over on this screen, it stops it. Okay, I got it figured out. Well, hey, Cold Creek Catfishing, email us at 3+1outdoors@gmail.com and tell us shirt size, address, and we'll get that mailed out to you, man.
Yep. Thank you.
And I'm pretty sure that I have Jeremy's link to his Facebook page. Is that the best way if anybody wanted to get a hold of you to book a trip?
Yes. We don't have a website yet. We're just strictly running off that Facebook page right now.
And the link to that is in the description, and it might also be pinned at the top of the comments. I think I also pinned it at the top of the comments.
Yeah, it'd be good to go out with Jeremy and get on a bunch of those big slab crappie.
We can sure do it. We'll put that live scope to work and try to send you home with a cooler full.
I tell you, my favorite times, probably my favorite month on Barron is October. I love doing some crappie fishing in October. I don't know if it's just a month I've always had some success, but I just seems like I know where they're going to be in October.
I like the summertime. June, July, August, September. That's my favorite time.
And Richard says, Barron is only 4.5 hours for me. Come on, big win, no whammy. Well, hey, you come down, go out on a guided trip with Jeremy, and and then stay at night, and you can go out fishing the next day with me and Daddy.
There you go.
So, and that's hashtag crappie trip. Jeremy, what do you think about these people that call it crappie?
Well, some of the people up north, and then you got your people down in Georgia. I mean, just depends on what state you live in, I guess. I've always called it crappie.
Crappie's all I've ever known them as.
Well, I think people that say crappie sound sillier than I do trying to say your name.
It's about the same.
Thank you. I better catch a 70 this weekend. You're bullying me.
Well, I'll sure net him for you.
Eric, make sure and put the hashtag in there.
Yep. So, I didn't realize. Heck, we already 57 minutes in.
Yep. That's the reason I was rushing you on the shirt giveaway a while ago.
Sorry, my bad.
Randall said, I don't know about that.
All right, Danny. Let me click back over here, see if it's collecting. When I click off to come back to the StreamYard page, it shows up different. All right, there we go. 21 entries.
And while we're waiting, I will say this, everybody, if you don't care, they are doing a big push right now to get Serena Keeping It Real to 1,000 subscribers. So make sure and check her out. I know they're going to have a big giveaway, I think, on the 4th of February, and they're going to have a big live show. So if you haven't subscribed to Serena, go over and check her out. And if you like what you see, give her a big sub.
Uncle Jeep says, I'm always running between two states, the state of confusion and the state of hunger.
Hey, I'm glad I'm not the only one, Uncle G.
All right. Well, real quick before I hit spin, let me give Jeremy full screen and tell them what they need to bring if they book a guide trip with you, or if they win this guide trip, where they can find you on YouTube, where they can, all that. Give them the quick rundown for anybody that just came in.
This will be just a crappie fishing trip. I'll have everything you need except your Kentucky fishing license. You just need to purchase that the night before, and I'll have all the rods, the baits, and everything you'll need. So all you got to do is show up with your license, and we'll put you on them and send you home with a cooler full of fish.
There you go.
Awesome. And you can find his channel at Fin Seeker TV. He catfishes, crappie fishes. He's got a lot of amazing content on there. So be sure to check that out. And let's add this back to the stream and let's spin it.
Spin it. Let's see who's going crappie fishing with Jeremy. Everything Guy.
Well, congratulations, everything guy. Jeremy, did you drop your email in? Yes, he did. Or 1 second. No, that's somebody. That's a YouTube link.
Matt,
I'll put it back in the chat here.
All right. I can try to scroll up and see if I can find it to put on screen.
congratulations, Everything Guy.
Yes,
And
sir.
Same
Try-
thing goes for you as anybody else. When you come down fish with Jeremy, if you want to hit us up and we can go out catfish with you, we'd be glad to do so.
Yeah, just the winner, he can just send me an email or you can send me a message on Messenger. It's under Jeremy Colvin. Just let me know that you're the winner and we'll get everything set up for you.
Yep. Well, it's not popping up in the chat, your email. I think that your other account was the one I had made a moderator. What is that email? Just tell them out loud.
It's Jeremy, JEREMY CLVN @yahoo.com.
All righty. Well, that's how you get a hold of him. And thank y'all all for being in here. We really appreciate y'all. It's been an awesome evening. Thank you, Jeremy, for the giveaways. Thank you for coming on. It's been an amazing show. Been a lot of fun. So we really enjoyed having you here. But we are running over into Chad's show right now at 7:01. We always say a short prayer at the end of all our live streams. So if you don't mind, Daddy's going to go ahead and pray us out.
Thank you, Heavenly Father, Lord, for this wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you for each and every one of these wonderful people that joined us tonight. Thank you for such a great friend and person, Jeremy, to be in our lives, Father. We just ask you to be the guiding light beneath each of his feet and put a hedge of safety around us. And Lord, we just say your will be done in all things. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. All right. Well, y'all go over, check out the bake shop. Looks like it's going to be the final night of the battle between co-host Brian B. and Freddie Beck. So see y'all over.
Remember, God, family, and the great outdoors. God bless.